listening is really very important, and one cannot adhere to anything without listening, because it's the only way. You wouldn't know the views of a person, and whether it may be, initially you think it's a crazy idea, but listen to it carefully, and have your power of analysis, and there's always something that a person says that may be of value.
Thought-provoking conversations with the people shaping our country. We uncover stories behind the headlines with influential voices from the Philippines and beyond. This is Manila Bulletin's The Sit Down.
Welcome to another episode of The Sit Down. My name is Carolyn Ramoran Hamilton. I am the editor-at-large of the Manila Bulletin's Embassies and Foreign Affairs pages. And with us today is the Secretary of Foreign Affairs of the Philippines, Maria Theresa Lazaro. Hi, ma'am. Welcome.
Hello.
Happy to be back and happy
to see you again here in Manila.
Happy to see you, ma'am. And so thank you so much for making time for us today. And as you know, it's March, and before, we've already done a Women's Month feature on you back when you were Undersecretary for Bilateral.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, but today I want to focus on your career as Foreign Affairs Secretary. So, ma'am, how's it been so far?
Well, it has its challenges, and it also has its the achievements that we have made. But I think there's a long way to go, particularly now that the Philippines is the chairship of ASEAN, and at the same time, we're looking forward to hopefully we're going to make it in the non-permanent member candidate at the UN Security Council. Elections will be in June. So these are the two important milestones, or whatever you call it, for the Philippine Foreign Service and foreign policy.
Yeah, it's a very busy time.
It
and
is.
Also, you assumed your position at the time of shifting alliances and rising geopolitical tensions. So maybe, what would you say is the Philippines' role in the geopolitical order at the moment?
Well, geopolitically, I think the Philippines is in a very important crossroads. We're practically the vanguards of the South China Sea, and the value we're in, it's the navigational issue that is involved here. However, there, of course, the challenges that we face, but the Philippines is an advocate of the rule of law and multilateralism, and I think this is what helps the country in navigating the issues that we have as of now.
And would you say that's how the Philippines is balancing its principle with pragmatism in its foreign policy decisions?
It's the same thing. It is multilateralism and the rule of law. I think the rule of being we're not a big country. We don't have the military might, but what we have is actually that the rule of law based on international law. This is what is holding us up, and we continue to adhere to this issue of rule of law, as well as the concepts of multilateralism.
Yeah, and it's always when people say no, we're not an important country, or no, we're not a big country. Right, we're not a big country, but we're actually an important country because of our location. And do you think that the other countries are seeing that now?
Let me put it this way. This is how I will answer your question. Since let's start with this 2026. Since January, we had a number of visitors, foreign ministers, defense ministers, and later on you will know who are the state visitors that has been coming here to the Philippines. That for me is a testimonial of the importance of the Philippines, whether it be trade or investment, whether it be political, whether it be people-to-people relationship. Just a few days ago, it's the foreign minister of Luxembourg, which I think is the first who has really visited the country, and we were a standalone. He visited the Philippines only. I mean, coming from Europe. What does that say? And I think that's very important because of the of our importance of the big market that we have, among others.
And just as a follow-up to that, SFA, no, a lot of people, kasi, the normal Filipino, the layman, for them it's like, okay, we do get a lot of these leaders visiting us, but what does that mean for the everyday Pinoy?
Well, that's I think a very good question. People probably were asking, you're receiving so many visitors, but how does it impact them?
How does it translate?
Okay,
Yeah.
in our discussions, in our bilateral discussions, there is always the aspect of course, we discuss many issues. Let's talk about economic issues, or even people to people. There, it is clustered. Will be trade and investment. Will be air services cooperation, tourism, everything, and there will be accompanying MOUs or agreements to that. There will be in trade and investment. You always have to have this MOU on avoidance, an agreement on avoidance of double taxation, protection of investments. Once you are into that matter, then that means that they are going to invest and they want their investments to be protected. On people-to-people cooperation, of course, there's labor cooperation. Many of these countries are always, it's an aging society. Actually, the world is aging. We still have a very young country, but we're more discerning now in how to really send some of our working force. But that's the Department of Migrant Workers. But all of these issues, we, the Department of Foreign Affairs, discuss it with our counterparts, and then of course involve the other agencies for that matter. And what else? What is this? Are these agreements for? It's really to benefit the Filipino people.
At the end of the day, they bring in jobs, they bring in investments.
Exactly.
And that can translate into prosperity later on for
Exactly,
everybody.
and that's what it's all about. Whether it's it can be any. I mean, you think of any issue that being discussed between the two countries. It's always redounding to the benefit, and it's always our principle. Will it redound to the benefit of the Filipino people?
And also for our diplomats who are posted abroad, right, ma'am? That they do that.
Oh yes, we do this on an everyday basis. It would be good if one can discuss the activity of a diplomat outside the country, but perhaps that will take another episode.
Yes, of course. Yeah. And and Secretary.
Yes.
Yeah. And Secretary, you've had like a very long career with the DFA. I remember the first time we met, you were Assistant Secretary for
Asia Pacific.
Asia Pacific.
Yes.
You became Ambassador to Paris. You've had a very long career, and you know the DFA like the back of your hand. But what is one decision in your career that required both courage and restraint?
I think that's it. It's accepting the position of the Secretary of Foreign Affairs. I think it's really I think a fulfilling job, but the challenges are just there, and it's par for the course, I would say.
It's also a very tiring position.
It
You travel
is.
so much.
It's even if I'm in Manila, it's also tiring. But I guess you just have to love the job. You have to like the people you deal with. And when I say people, it's really from the highest to the lowest. You have to be a people person to really like this, to be in this function as Secretary of Foreign Affairs.
Yeah. I've been covering the DFA since 2011,
Yes, that's true.
I'd say. And then
The DFA knows you very well.
thank you. Yeah, but I feel like if there's anybody who really loves the DFA and its people, I can honestly say it's you.
Well,
Yeah.
I will not stay this long if I don't love the job.
But what is one thing that people misunderstand in your job as Secretary of Foreign Affairs?
Well, let me rephrase your question. What is, again, the question is,
What do people misunderstand about your job?
let me not talk about my job. What is the misunderstanding about the Department of Foreign Affairs? Not a secretary. I believe and I can sense that anything foreign, if they see anything foreign, it's the Department of Foreign Affairs. So that is the misunderstanding. Yes, we take care of issues with foreign concerns, but we have to also be also there are other government agencies involved in many other issues, and it just has to be a whole of government concern.
So it's always like working as part of a bigger
Of course.
Yeah. Right. I want to talk about Manila as well as a diplomatic capital, and you've been posted in many different parts of the world, SFA. But our city hosts dozens of embassies and diplomatic missions. So, what role does the city play in shaping regional and global conversations?
I think the city is a very vibrant, pulsating city. I think it's also, again, going back to the geopolitical situation. I think it's the bustling democracy that we have.
Yeah.
I think all of this play a role to a big market for many of our foreign friends. This all play a role in our in making this city a home for many of embassies and international organizations. Just to tell you, I don't have the exact number right now, but we have new embassies that have been established recently. We had Slovenia, Ukraine, Slovakia, Bahrain, and perhaps I'm missing others, but we do have a good number of embassies. Since you were still with you had the DFA a bit, but there are a good number of embassies now and international organizations.
Finland reopened a couple of
Finland
years ago.
reopened, yes.
So I think that's also testament to that, like the fact that they left for a bit
And then they
decided
returned.
to come back.
And there will be many more. I just wouldn't want to say it should be the embassies who will announce it, but there will be I can think of 3 or 4 more who intend or will open their embassies, their presence here in the Philippines.
And in layman's terms, the meaning of that is that they're seeing us as an important partner.
I would think so. I mean, setting up an embassy is also expensive. It entails really a part of your budget. So, in the same way, when we establish an embassy in a foreign country, it's also part. We really study it very well, and falls into into our budget. So it's not easy. You have to think, what is it? What do we really want from each other? And of course, the number of people and the engagements are very important. So there are various reasons why they're establishing an embassy, but I think you can see now what it is. There's we may not have a very we may not have the growth that we wanted last year. 4.4% is a respectable growth, but for many of our foreign friends see this as very important. It's still a good growth indication, and therefore they continue and would like to establish more investments in the Philippines as well as continuous trade.
Yeah, so like really opening an embassy is like an investment in a relationship.
Yes, it
between
is.
two
It
countries.
is, and it is a long-term relationship.
A long-term relationship, a long-term investment.
Exactly.
And in your view, what makes Manila a compelling place for diplomats to work in? You've mentioned our bustling democracy. I always like to tell people, oh, it's such a good posting because it's a place that you learn so much, and it situates you in a, in Southeast Asia where a lot is happening, and to study the culture and its people. That's for me as a journalist. But for you, ma'am, what do you think makes it compelling?
Well, I think it's the opportunities that they can see in this country. The opportunities may be on many other aspects, perhaps on education. I think it's more on the people to people as well. Again, it goes back to the economic aspects. The political aspect is very important because in this geopolitical situation, one has to strengthen alliances, and I think those are basic things that our foreign friends are looking at the Philippines.
Yeah. I always say it's always exciting in Manila.
It is. It is. Well, you've been living in other cities, but I think Manila is Nothing can beat Manila when it comes to the vibrancy and and the opportunities. That's what I said.
I think people need to look past the grit and also that because once you're over that, because in international news we're always portrayed like the visuals that they show, the tendency is to be like, oh, it's not, it doesn't look like a very pretty city. But once you're here and you're able to really explore and get to know people, it's such a vibrant.
Well,
city.
you know that you've been working with a number of embassies and consulates here. You know how they feel.
And they change their minds.
Exactly.
After, yeah.
Actually, less than a year, they change their minds.
And some of them don't want to leave. Some even come back.
Actually, we have this SRRV, Special Retirees Residence Visa. And you can ask who is in charge of this. An office is in charge of this. And many are availing, many departing diplomats avail of this SRRV. So we have statistics there, and you can ask the office concerned.
That's very interesting, ma'am. No? And PRA has been very
PRA,
active.
Philippine Retirement Authority. Yeah.
They've been very active in promoting the SRRV.
Exactly. Among the diplomats.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. So maybe let's go back a little bit to foreign policy. So we're living in an era marked by conflict, climate changes, and economic uncertainty. So where does the Philippines find leverage when it comes to this environment?
Well, as I said, the leverage that we use is the adherence to multilateralism, adherence to international law. These are the principled decisions that the principles that the Philippines continue to adhere to, and it goes through many in many of those discussions on a global basis, whether regional or international.
Of course. And when it comes to climate, ma'am, do you see us as a country that has a lot of say? We do have a lot of experience, and we also have, I always like to go back to that example of how Filipinos have always lived climate-friendly lives for the longest time before, diba? We go to the palengke, we wrap our food in paper, diba? And it's quite eco-friendly, no? It's becoming trendy na in other countries.
Right.
But when it comes to climate, we tend to not be at the forefront of like discussing this, or parang we're not the ones that are being seen as a leader for like such discussions. What can you say about that?
Well, perhaps we are not seen as actually, on the contrary, I think we have become leaders on climate change, even on a global level, in the United Nations, in many of these international meetings. Why? Simply because, well, if I can describe us as a poster boy of climate change, we have been devastated by natural calamities. I mean, we suffered a lot last year, and we just hope and cross our fingers that we will have least calamities this year. But we have, and we continue to have engagements in this to strengthen basically our resilience. But let me give you an example. We do have a lot of defense cooperation. You might think it's just defense, and the Department of National Defense would be in the forefront of this, but a lot of this has an HADR component, humanitarian assistance and disaster resilience. So it's all, of course, because for the Philippines, it's the Department of National Defense who is responsible for this because of the logistics and the movement. So we have been very strong on this matter, and when I talk about alliances, we have very strong relations with Pacific Island countries who have been suffering also the most when it comes to climate change. In fact, most of them are, God forbid, they're slowly losing a lot of their territory because of their rising waters and sea levels. So we have had a good number of resolutions and meetings Not only with the, but not only, of course, Pacific. I just thought of them because they're the most affected, like us. In ASEAN, there's also, in fact, in the ASEAN discussions, climate change. And if you read the priorities that we have on ASEAN chairship, climate change is one of them.
Yeah, it's something I feel strongly about because, of course, us in like the Pacific Islands, we're lower emissions, but then we're the ones who are being victimized by the effects of climate change the most.
That's a whole debate, a global debate. Yeah, but we have been doing a lot of these things. I just mentioned one, defense cooperation, but it's really humanitarian assistance.
Exactly. So we're doing a lot more, but we just need more people to listen, right? More the other countries to be more.
I think they are aware, but we just have to be more. I mean, there's a need for more technology. Like, well, I'm sure, particularly our Department of Science Technology, they are very good in trying to come up with new technology that can at least monitor. It's hard to predict though, but to monitor the changes.
And we're also getting a lot of these technologies from our partners, right?
We
Other
do.
countries.
Yes.
Okay. And with that said, SFA, what about the multilateral platforms from ASEAN, the UN, and some of the regional dialogues that we participate in? How do they help protect smaller and middle powers like ours?
Well, they have been. I just have been into many meetings in Europe. One of them is the Munich Security Conference, and they have been. We've been part of many panel discussions on issues that look at us as the cluster that you have mentioned, and I think there's a lot of understanding, a lot of hopefully resolutions that will always take care of this. Well, I wouldn't look yet at being a middle power, but just the middle income countries, which we are hopefully, according to Secretary Balisacan of DepDev, we will soon achieve the there's a way mid-level, or rather middle income status. That's very important to us. Middle power, I always say that being a middle power, that will be other countries who will tell us if we have achieved that.
We can't say it yet. We have to wait for them to say it.
We have to wait for them to say that, not us telling
But hopefully
that.
soon.
And hopefully soon. But unlike middle income, there's a gauge, there's a certain level that we can reach, and we're hoping for that.
I wanted to ask you, what keeps you up at night in terms of global development?
What keeps me at night? Well, it's also the concern that we have how many people, Filipinos around the world, and it's also a responsibility that we have, and it's one of those things that when you wake up and you look at your phone, if anything happened in any part of the world, because the Department of Foreign Affairs should be able to report that. I think this is an office that is 24/7. The DFA does not sleep, and therefore the concern also of the Filipinos around the world.
It is a 24/7
Right.
job.
Just to tell you, for just as part of it, Greenland, which is really up there. Do you know that the Filipinos have we have the most number of Filipinos in Greenland, 1,200. Yeah. You're right. You're half Danish. So just to show we're all over the world, and the Department of Foreign Affairs concerned over the Filipinos around the world.
And it's very unique, no, SFA, because you are one of the foreign ministries that are very active in helping our people abroad, because we do have like a really big diaspora.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we help out when it comes to somebody who loses their wallet. They go to the embassy. It can be as little as that, or it could be like a worker that's abused.
Although let me just to rather, with your statement, actually, it's also the Department of Migrant Workers. We're now a partnership, but they are really taking care of the overseas, the OFWs. However, what is to the Department of Foreign Affairs now are students, migrants, and those whose capital cities, which have not yet received, or rather, the DMW has not yet established an office. So it's still the Department of Foreign Affairs who's in charge of that. In Laos, in Myanmar, we're still waiting for DMW to establish an office. Now, I mentioned these countries because this is the center of the scam hubs, the scams.
Yes.
And we have been extracting a number of Filipinos every so often. So that's still our responsibility.
Yeah, but that's something SFA that a lot of foreign diplomats also say, that they look to the Philippines like with how we help our people abroad, how we care and how we take care of everybody. Of course, we try to. There's so many, but it's something that they find quite interesting, amazing actually. That
That's
you
true.
do so much. Yeah.
Because the Philippines, that is our third pillar. Not many countries. Okay, what are the three pillars? Of course, political, economic, and assistance to nationals. I think we're the only country, I'm not very sure, but I think we're the only country, or one of the few countries, which have this kind of foreign policy, the taking care of our own nationals. The other countries, probably they're more mature, and their citizens have certain capabilities, but no, we do protect our own people wherever they are, even the dual citizens, dual nationals. Yes.
Just quick fire questions. SFA, one word that defines Philippine diplomacy today.
Dynamic.
Coffee or tea before your meetings and negotiations?
Coffee, keep me awake.
Keeps you awake. A country that changed you personally.
Well, I mentioned it. The first posting is the best posting.
Hi. And a Filipino value that strengthens your diplomacy style.
I think it's the word that I want to use is it's not only, it's pakiramdam. I think diplomacy has a lot to do with this Filipino trait of pakiramdaman. Sometimes it's not said, it's just felt.
And SFA, we talked about what keeps you up at night, but what also gives you hope?
What gives me hope are also the Filipinos abroad. I mean, their goodwill, the fact that they're so recognized and acknowledged by many governments. I mean, you can just see. I was in Vienna, and I attended this conference on women, peace, and security. And I'm telling you, there was this event by the foreign minister of Austria, and with us were Filipinos. The first group of Filipinos that arrived in Vienna were the nurses in the 1970s, and they were there. They were presented to the. It was a media event, and it was really so nice. They have not only established their families there, but they're so recognized in the society. I mean, you will hear this especially among the Europeans, you will hear these discussions of how even I've been hearing this with the sheikhs and the emirs of the Middle East, how they value our Filipino nationals.
How does that make you feel when they tell you these things?
Of course, it makes you very proud. Of course, we also look into the possibility that hopefully they can will be able to go back, be with their families, and try to obtain what they have learned from the different respectable jobs that they have, and bring it back to the Philippines. Of course, that's in an ideal world, but hopefully that time will come when we can accommodate our Filipino workers back.
And with, of course, like we're getting all of these visits, we're getting all of these
Yes,
agreements in motion. Does that make you very hopeful?
Well, yes. I mean, as I said, the fact that they acknowledge and recognized our workers is really very heart. I mean, it really feels very good. Yeah.
And as if we've known each other for a long time.
Yes.
So I kind of know the answer to this question.
Okay.
But people love hearing about what brings diplomats to their careers. So
Okay.
I want to ask you again,
Yes.
what first drew you to diplomacy?
What led me to diplomacy?
Or what drew you first? Like, but how did you get interested in it?
Yeah, well, it was at a very young age, and as I was actually in law school when I took the Foreign Service Officers exam. Actually, I was thinking, if I become a lawyer, it's so confrontational. So I told myself, let me just try and be able to take this exam. It will be less confrontational, but it's confrontational is the word is not really something that, I mean, in any aspect of the work you have to really push back on many matters, but that was basically how I thought of it. Well, it's really, you have to be a people person. You have to learn to love, and you have to be able to speak from the highest to the lowest, because that's our job, assistance to nationals. And of course, but you have to learn how to speak to the powers that be. Yeah, so I guess it's that challenge that arose, and probably also the opportunities that not an ordinary, not I would say, not even a lawyer would be able to achieve. I think it's such a rare opportunity for us. I mean, to be able to meet this cutting people, classes of people.
Yeah, and I think it's a common misconception that diplomats are not assertive.
Oh yeah.
But I like, I mean, I've seen you speak before. I've seen you in meetings before. And when you say non-confrontational, it doesn't mean you're not assertive.
Exactly. That's why I said the word confrontational, after all, is not. It is a subjective word.
Yeah.
So my thinking of I don't want to. I want to go to the Foreign Service because it will be less confrontational. It's not exactly what it is.
There's an art to it.
It's just that that's a good way of saying it. There's an art to it, and there's a way of doing things.
Yeah, getting what you want without having to be too confrontational. Yeah.
There you are.
Assertive, but also
one thing is very important. One has to be assertive. One has to push back.
Persuasive.
One has to persuasive. But in words that are respected and in very good terms. One cannot achieve anything if one antagonizes the other.
Yeah.
So you will be able to obtain what you want, but it's not always fast. Sometimes it's protracted, but it's not easy. It's hard work, but that I guess how diplomacy works.
And ma'am, at one point you headed the Board of Foreign Service
Yes.
Administration for the exams, right?
For the exams, yes.
Are you happy with your current pool, or do you need more diplomats?
I think we need, well, first of all, am I happy with I had about 3 or 4 batches, and I think I'm very happy. Some of them are now working with us, and I think they're doing well. And then, yes, we need more. In fact, I'm always reminded by my HRMO that we need more Foreign Service Officers. In fact, I think we're giving the exams again this year, and probably will be giving the exams at a faster pace because there's really a need for more officers.
More diplomats, more representation.
More representation because we're opening up new embassies.
Can you tell us na? Not yet.
Yeah, no, we have already opened our embassies in, help me with this. There's one in Suva, Fiji. That's the Pacific Island countries. There will be one in, consulates that we opened in in Hanoi, rather Ho Chi Minh. There will be one in Busan in Korea. And then there's another one, the fourth one that we opened in we're opening in Accra, Ghana. We're opening in Florida. We opened in Seattle already.
Do you have a few?
We're opening in Florida.
Was that a few years ago?
And in
Romania?
Kazakhstan. It is all this year.
All this year? Because the last one I heard was Romania, and I think that's like a
Oh,
year
that's
or
a
two
long-
ago.
tapos na
Yeah,
yun.
oo. But so many pa pala.
Yeah. So that's the latest one, the fourth one. I repeat. Suva, Fiji, Ho Chi Minh, Seattle, and Busan.
Wow.
This year, it will be Accra, Ghana, Kazakhstan, the capital of Kazakhstan, and Florida.
Wow.
We are opening in Florida, not only, of course, of the Filipino Americans there, but that is really directed to the CARICOM, to the Caribbean countries. We have a good number of Filipinos there.
Okay. And SFA, speaking of postings abroad, was there a defining posting for you in your career?
Defining.
Yeah, one thing that shaped
That changed me into a better person or
or
something.
shaped your worldview.
I think it's the first posting is always a defining posting.
Where were you then? SFA?
I was in Bangkok. That was my first posting, and there were a lot of learnings that I got from Thailand. But of course, when they were taking off, we're all developing countries. But it's the first time. The first time you're assigned gives you a perspective that it's a different world, and it tries to define you as you're now a diplomat. Something to that effect. But of course, all postings have contributed to my person. I have learned a lot of many things from all my postings, and there's quite a number of postings.
Yeah, you've been around a lot. So Bangkok, where was the
And
next
then
one?
I went to Geneva, Madrid, and then I went to Sydney, Bern. Already ambassador. I was consul general in Sydney. Then I was ambassador in Bern, and I was ambassador in Paris.
Yeah, and now SFA. Like really a career official.
Well,
Like going up through the ranks.
just
talaga.
towards that direction. I mean, although some of my predecessors also went through that direction.
Yeah. And how do you stay grounded when the stakes of your job are so high?
Just remember that again, always look at it if it will benefit your people, the Filipino people. It's always look at the main objective. Will it benefit our people? And that's what we are for.
Of course. And SFA, what has leadership taught you about listening in a world where everybody just keeps on talking?
Well, that's it. I think listening is really very important, and one cannot adhere to anything without listening, because it's the only way. You wouldn't know the views of a person, and whether it may be initially you think it's a crazy idea, but listen to it carefully, and have your power of analysis, and there's always something that a person says that may be of value.
And a lot of your job is listening.
It is listening, yes.
And trying to understand another person.
Right, exactly.
Okay. What advice would you give young Filipinos who want to enter foreign service?
Well, during my time, we were younger, in the sense that most of us entered also the service quite young. But now you are required to have a 2-year working that you have working experience. So actually now I think the people who are entering the service now are more mature, I would think. It's really very important to have that 2-year working experience. It also makes you more mature in your dealings, the interaction. So I encourage the young people now that if you're looking at government, you may take a look at the Foreign Service, the opportunities that it will provide. It's a little bit unique. It may have a little bit of it's not always advantageous because you have to think of your family also. Especially if you're a woman and you have a husband, there might be certain difficulties along the way. But the Foreign Service is unique. And I encourage the young people to look at the Foreign Service as a career, a long-term career.
And at the end of the day, it is in essence public service.
It is public service, and one thing unique about this, about the Foreign Service is people think that we only accept lawyers or any of these political science graduates. No, we even we have a lot of marine geologists here. We have nurses. We have all disciplines are accepted and are and we welcome all the courses of discipline because it's really multidisciplinary. We have, as I said, we have a lot of the careers here, a lot of the disciplines, and it makes us, because it's so diversified. I think it makes us a better institution.
Well-rounded.
Very much. Yeah.
What's one trait that you're looking for?
One trait. Good question. Well, one has, again, repeat. You have to be a people person.
Yeah.
You cannot be choosy that you only want to talk to the people in the high echelon. No, you have to know and you have to talk to everyone. Second, I think one has to be humble. The humility is very important because we're still a servant. You're still a civil servant. And three, I think it's very important, is loyalty to the Republic.
Yes. And last question, SFA. If you could sit down with anyone and ask them any question in your mind, who would it be?
I mean, thinking hard, but right now what comes into my mind is Madeleine Albright. I hope she's still alive, I don't know, but I really, as a Secretary of State during those tumultuous years, I'd like to talk to her and ask her.
What would you ask her?
Well, on how to exactly how to navigate these issues, and of course, it's not only you're dealing the beauty about this position is it's not only dealing with the people outside the country or the foreigners. It's also dealing with a good number of people within our legislators, our NGOs, our civil society. You also have to look at them and how they view certain pronouncements, announcements.
Yeah. I see. That would be a good interview, actually. Thank you so much, SFA. Thank you for your time. And thank you to everyone who joined us today at the Sit Down. My name is Carolyn Ramoran Hamilton. We hope to see you again next time.